Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. Welcome to being here. I'm Ariel.
I'm Shaya.
And we are community leaders.
We are.
And guess what?
So are you. That was a good guess, wasn't it?
That was a very good guess.
Thank you. Hey, we didn't talk about listening in the last
episode of the podcast.
Yeah, I realized that at the end that it was so free flow that it was not something that we spoke about. But listening is enough. And we were speaking just a moment ago with some of the people that we'll be talking with today about listening and relationship. Because if you don't listen, there cannot be a relationship, at least a non-functional or a functional working relationship, in that if you disagree or are not listening to somebody when they talk to you, they never feel that warm, yummy feeling of being seen, loved, known, and respected. And we're just talking about some people that are going to be joining us in Costa Rica next year, and they're in a relationship, and they never would have made it to a relationship if they hadn't heard us talking about listening, because listening brings you into the current moment of your life, and your authenticity and spontaneity happen out of your listening, out of your being here, out of your being available to interact with your life directly and appropriately in each moment.
As you're saying that, I realized the wider framework of listening includes listening. Wait, everybody, until I finish the full thought. Listening to yourself. And as I say that, I am not talking about that thought process that goes through this is, I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's true. I'm talking about, as you're listening to someone, being able to hear the full thing, like, oh, wow. The impression where you have the experience, they don't know who they are, or they're feeling insecure, or there have been plenty of times where I will make a statement to you, Shaya, and you will ask me a question not based on the words that I said, but the experience that I impart. And part of being, if we're going to tie this around community leader, is being able to include all the aspects, not just the words.
I'm not quite following that last bit.
Sometimes a person will say, oh, I'm not feeling well.
Right.
And you will get an impression, or even a visual picture of them talking to someone, and you say, hey, have you spoken to your sister lately? Or have you started dating again? Or what happened on that last date? And you don't even know if they went on a date, but you just got an impression that wasn't contained by listening to only I am not feeling well.
Right.
But it includes a wider knowledge base. And listening is
well, listening actually brings you into current time. And then in that moment, you become available to information that you might not have seen before because you were too busy going somewhere. It's really amazing. I live in the country. We live in the country, and we drive down these roads, and suddenly I see something like a house that's been there forever. We've lived here over 20 years, been there for over 20 years, but I have not caught it in my vision because I was thinking about something as I was driving down the road. When you think, you're one step removed from your experience. Most automobile accidents happen because the person is distracted by something in their life. They're engaged in a conversation with themselves about how they should have been, how they could have been better, what they did wrong. What if you didn't do anything wrong, ever? What if everything is an outcome of how you're being, And if you are listening to your thoughts, you're not being present, and that's how accidents happen. In any event, you are a community leader and you're promoting something all the time. What are you selling?
Let's take our first guest.
Okay.
All right, Eric, welcome to being here. Please let people know where you are zooming in from.
Hi, this is Eric. I'm coming in from Brooklyn, New York.
Welcome.
I just want to say I loved you talking about relationship, even though it's not about community leader necessarily. To me, I actually feel in some ways I've been a community leader through my relationship with my wife, because I've been divorced twice. And I had the thought that I wasn't good at relationship. And at the time that I was in my second marriage and leaving my second marriage, I was attending seminars. And ultimately, I met Holly, my wife, and that relationship couldn't have happened without attending seminars. But also that the possibility of us being a relationship and also being happily married.
Yeah. Say seminars. What seminars were you attending?
Oh, seminars with you, Ariel and Shaya's seminars. Sorry, seminars in instantaneous transformation.
I think there's more than one type.
Yes, that's true.
Seminars out there in the universe. And,
True.
And so.
But I want to back up to you in relationship and that idea that you were not good at relationship, because it's not true.
No.
And it wasn't true back then. When you first arrived the very first night, I think we even wrote about this in one of our books. It might have been in Being Here Too. The very first night you arrived, Eric, you had reconnected with us. We hadn't been in touch for many, many years. You found out we were doing seminars. You took a bus from Boston down to attend a Monday evening, which in and of itself was
And you were sitting
on the left-hand side.
stage right, on the left-hand side of the room, about 2 rows back, maybe 3 rows back.
Honey, that's stage
on the
right.
outside edge. Yeah, but it was on.
It was stage left from the actor's point of view. He was straight ahead of us.
From us, from my point of view, it was on the right side.
Yeah. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were in front of us.
I remember.
And you finally got up to speak, and you said you had made the decision not to speak on the way down because you had nothing to offer. In the meantime, there was a young man. It was his only time ever being there that I recall, but he came up at the end to thank us and to thank you, and said that you opened up a whole new possibility for him, that you were the person that really opened doors for him. The fact that that relationship was with your wife, then wife, was ending at the time, or in conflict at the time when you came down, being willing to be honest about that and move on not only allowed you to have the relationship you have with Holly, I believe it really released your ex-wife to have the possibility of the best possible life, rather than living with somebody who was conflicted with her, who didn't like her, who had resentful thoughts toward her. Even how you handled all the dissolution of a relationship that you went into with the best of intents. It had its beginning, its middle, and its end. You're a community leader through the entire process of it, unless you're judging yourself that you should be different. You have to speak. You can't.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm taking that in. Yes, I see that. I see that, what you're saying. But I also find myself, there's a conversation in my head going back and forth between being proud to the point of arrogance and also being humble. Like, that's right, I'm a leader, or, oh no, not me, please, I don't.
What if it's just a fact? You
What
walk
if,
a
See-
grocery store and your way of being is either being there or you're inviting people to complain along with you about the weather, the long lines, the price of fruit.
right,
Whatever you're championing, you are a leader in. Whether it's a political discussion, you can get people going political. I've seen you do it. Or whether it's playing a guitar and singing a song. So you enroll people in your point of view.
And that, and you keep nodding, I just got to remind
I,
you,
sorry.
and after a while, we're going to sound like we're browbeating you.
Oh, my apologies. And
No,
what's funny,
because if we're talking community leader, then you can actually create something here that you don't intend unless you bring awareness to your actions.
what's funny about this is years ago when I was first an attorney, I used to do a lot of depositions, which are questions of witnesses outside of court, under oath, in law offices with a stenographer. And I would have to instruct witnesses several times. We can't pick up a nod or a shake of the head. You have to say yes or no. Bless you. And so I understand. What I also think is interesting is I had, before this conversation, a thought that being a leader was something of a do, and I'm seeing it's a be. What I mean is I had this thought that there were things I would have to do. I would have to take on responsibilities, or I'd have to have a list of things to do to make myself a leader. And what I'm hearing in this conversation is I'm already a leader. What I'm doing is indicating to people, as you said, what I'm selling, what I'm requesting, what I'm basically, as a leader, requesting people to follow me. Are you going to follow me into complaints about the weather or politics? Or are you going to follow me into a discussion of humor and what matters to all of us? Not that those are the only options. I'm just saying that's what I'm hearing.
I have a slight shift in that, a different idea. In change, you have the dichotomies, right? You have good, bad, right, wrong, better, worse, leader, follower. In transformation, you own that you are being a leader and other people lead with you. You have partners in that. It's not so much that you're encouraging people to follow you, although from time to time you do. And usually when you're upset, when we're upset, we want people to follow us in upset so we can be right that we're upset. But
What's interesting, I haven't said much. I'm definitely leading this podcast, even though I haven't said much. A real leader, a really good leader, the people who are being led believe they are leading rather than thinking it's somebody else. And what makes our seminars so unique is that we don't, for the most part, try to impose our point of view on other people as though we know better than they do about their own life. Because it's our observation or experience that people are God in their own universe. They create their experience and their lives exactly as they want to, even though frequently what they want, they complain about.
My experience of attending your seminars is just that you respect people to run their own lives, and you never tell, well, I've never been told by you what to do. I've been listened to, I've been interacted with, but I've never been told by either of you, Eric, the answer is this. You need to do this. What you should do is this. That's never been my experience.
Sometimes I say you need to listen.
Yes, that's true. But I find that to be very unobtrusive and perfect in the moment that it's said.
Yeah, well, for the most part, the only times you get lost is when you stop listening to your universe, when you are trying to get somewhere that you think is more important than the current moment that you're in.
Not to embarrass you, but I do recall one time when Shai told you what to do. He's like, Eric, you should go back and shave this bit. You were obviously thinking, and you have hair right here. It's obvious on Zoom. And it was a pretty sweet moment where you recognize that you were so preoccupied, you missed aspects of your morning. So yes, it's true. We don't generally tell people how to go about their life, but that was a very fun interaction between the two of you.
Yes, I like that. It was sweet and warm, and I thank you. Well, I like this. No, I like this conversation. What's funny is I'm not sure what I walk away with.
Well,
But-
I'll give you something then. You say something first.
Well,
For you.
Are you looking at the camera or at my picture?
I'm looking at your picture.
Look at the camera for a second. See, when you were talking, you weren't looking at your camera. You were thinking what to say. So I kept on looking at your eyes, and they were in the wrong place if you were speaking to the camera.
Or speaking to Shia. If you're looking up, looking at what you got from this, you're scanning your mental
you're pulling
list.
memories. See, we always look up to see what our rehearsed life has to say. When you're really, I love Judge Judy. Judge Judy says to people, no, don't look over there. When you talk to me, look in my eyes. She really's got that when you are really here, the truth shows up. It's not that you have to rehearse it or tell a story. You know, well, look, you're a lawyer. You know when the truth is being told. When you're looking at a person and they look away to gather their information, the story's coming, not the truth.
And
true.
What you demonstrated was perfect. That you looked up to see what you got out of this is like going back and making the list of, I learned this, this, and this. That's change. If you want to know what you got out of this conversation, live your life with awareness. See how you touch things, see how you interact with things, be in what you're up to, and it becomes obvious, not as a thought. It's like, oh.
Yeah, that's what this is all about.
Oh.
I do feel like pressure is lifted. That if someone says you're a leader, it doesn't feel like pressure in this moment.
Just expect the pressure will come back.
See,
it will.
Here's the thing. I fish, and I go out to the stream, and a couple of times back, I carry two different fishing rods, two different fly rods. One is about 11 feet long, and the other is about 9 feet long. The 11-foot long rod is a two-handed rod, and I use it to cast flies that go under the water and look like subaquatic insect larvae or little fish or something like that to the fish, and they eat it. And it's called swinging a fly.
Because it swings underwater, and as it goes back by a fish, if they think it's something edible, they grab it from underwater.
So, the other one is for casting a dry fly, a fly that lands on the surface and looks like a little bug. And the other day, there was this older gentleman there who, as I walked by, he said, "You need a Sherpa." I said, "What?" He says, "You need a porter to carry all your equipment." And I noticed that he pressed my button. I found it insulting. I upset myself with it immediately. And then I went, whoa, what happened to your enlightenment, buddy? hey, what's going on here? You know, here you are on a beautiful river complaining about something this guy offhandedly said because he was uncomfortable. So it was an indicator to me that I had lost my center. I wasn't in my moment. I was in an upset. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten upset with that.
And Sean and I talked about it later, and he was really clear that this gentleman may not know anything about a two-handed rod. What is that all about? How does that work? So we've been trained not to say, hey, what are you doing? Why do you have two rods? You're not allowed to be curious. You just make
Right.
a
So you can lose your enlightenment in a moment.
just in an instant, like bloop, gone.
But if you see it, you can get it back.
Insta pressure.
That's
You're
right.
like an Instapot.
Right. In an instant, it can go, or you can be stable in yourself, you see. We saw that movie, Karate Kid, with Jaden Smith, where Jackie Chan said, strong in yourself, stay strong in yourself. He's talking about your chi, you know. And when I walk on the river, I don't use a wading staff unless the water is extremely deep or extremely fast moving. Normally, I go with that one because I find it a bit of an encumbrance, you know, because I have at times tripped over a wading staff that got stuck between my feet. You know, if I let it be so I could use my hands, in any event, I frequently remind myself to be strong in yourself, to be there in each step. Well, that includes my interactions with people on the stream. If I am insecure or affected by their insecurity, because a lot of them are very successful and now retired, and so they are doubting their usefulness, and they can snap out at you if they're fighting with their wife.
Well, I want to, you know, when you said, oh, this pressure to do more, be more. Sean, my first date, we had a lovely, intimate evening. He looked at me with wonder and said, you know, you're the one for me in this lifetime. And immediately I thought, wait, I didn't do anything special yet. I can do more. It's like just being myself in that mental construct was not enough. That mental construct lives inside of me. In general, it's in the background, but from time to time, it comes to the foreground. So the idea that you need to do something more, be something more, show something special is part of a normal person's mind that doesn't recognize that your being already is special.
Yes, that isn't what you said feels accurate. In my mind, I think I have to do more, whether it's as a lawyer recently during a parole hearing where it went so easy. I felt like, I was just standing there and I stayed out of the way and I got what my client needed and wanted. But that, in my head, it's like, well, that's not artful. That's not being, but that could have been the most brilliant. Well, it was a brilliant thing to do, to just let things happen and stay out of the way.
Didn't you?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Got the results you wanted, didn't you?
Exactly.
Doing more doesn't necessarily mean it's better.
No.
Yes,
No.
in a certain respect, you don't get credit then. You know, if you did something very showy and slick and blah, 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 you know, your mind goes, whoo, look, good job. You can, bless you, lovey.
Oh, that was a good nasal orgasm.
Yeah.
Yes, I definitely have loved going for credit. So I see that.
I don't know that. I think you've gone for credit not as something as a mechanical way of behaving rather than when you're honest with yourself. Because when you're honest with yourself, you don't need the credit. Only when you need to prove you're okay, you need the credit.
I have a question. I know
Yes.
one of the things you do is you work for the state of Massachusetts. If somebody is imprisoned and it looks like something might have gone wrong with their trial in the first place, they assign you to represent the person to make sure that they got a good shake and possibly be there for an appeal. And there have been a number of people where you've come up with creative solutions so they didn't get deported or they got released, like this last one. On the year anniversary of their release, how many people did you require to thank you?
Well, none. The whole idea of that is preposterous to me. I would never expect that.
Well, maybe you don't go for credit as much as you like to think you do.
Thanks.
Maybe without realizing it, you're always a community leader.
Thank you. I like that. Thanks.
Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
Hey, it's time for the listener feedback spotlight.
It's where we get to hear from people in this amazing listenership and transformation community talking about what's happening in their lives.
This is Claire in Waldorf, Maryland, and I love the Being Here podcast. I can use it as a tool. Anytime I feel a little bit off center, I can turn it on and just practice the skill of listening. And it's so useful to me in my everyday life, and it helps me get back into the current moment of my life. So I'm very grateful for the Being Here podcast. Thank you.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
In a couple of days, we have the virtual weekend seminar, Being Boldly You. It's this Saturday and Sunday.
And it's not too late to join us.
You are invited. In August, we get to meet with folks in person.
We're doing creativity and intuition August 4th, 5th, and 6th
That's a Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday.
at the New Jersey Performing
Arts Center.
Arts
Yeah.
Center. That's in Newark, New Jersey.
Yes, if you want to know about also our Living Made Easy 2-hour seminars, what dates are upcoming, either of these weekends to register, or
Costa Rica,
2024. We do finish each other's sentences.
yes.
Go to transformation.com
Made easy.
and you can find out more and register there. Also, if you're not yet on our newsletter and would like to get our newsletter that has blogs, announcements, links to the podcast, you are welcome to register to be on the newsletter there. Yes, that's good.
Yeah,
All right, let's take our next guest.
good. Adam.
Where are you zooming in from, Adam?
Hi, I'm zooming in from New York City, Manhattan.
Welcome. Nice to
Thank you. I love listening to your podcast. I like listening to them on my runs or when I exercise. And I appreciate what they do for me. So when I had the chance to be a caller, I really wanted to join and do for others what your radio show has done for me. So I'm really glad to be here.
What has it done for you?
It's it makes me realize that I'm not alone. That usually I don't always do this, but I'll listen to it when I feel upset, and it just gets me out of my head, or it gets me out of the thought loop that I get stuck in, that's got me feeling sour.
It would be interesting if you listened to this before you got sour. I wonder if there's a
Yeah.
way in your life now that you don't have to have those dips.
Well,
Just curious about it.
well, as you say that, I wonder what you say no to that you get lost in. Because what you say no to, you get lost in. You don't get lost in things you say yes to, they go by. But the things that you disagree with or complain in your thoughts about, that's when you go south. And I don't mean to Florida.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I feel like I've had the weight conversation for a while that I say no to. I say I want to lose weight, but I keep yo-yoing at the same weight that I'm at. And I'll do well one day, and then the next day I don't eat well, or eat too much.
Well, I've always noticed that when I say I want to lose weight, and I actually do, something in me gets insecure and I feel like I have to eat more. So I feel like I'm not wasting away.
Mm,
Just find that so interesting that if I actually get down to the weight I say, I notice I increase my food consumption.
yeah. I remember this was a long time ago, but I hit a weight that I thought I wanted to be at, and well, I felt like it wasn't it once I was there, it wasn't enough either. Um,
Well, it's never enough
yeah.
because, your mind is a very funny mechanism and you ever, like, I don't know if you have a car. Do you have a car?
Yes, it's not with me full time, but I have a car.
Well, you ever have the idea you need to buy a car and you look and you see cars everywhere and then you finally buy your car. And now you have a car, but you're still looking at cars that are for sale around you. It's
Yes.
holds
Yeah.
on. It's like a cache of some sort that it's constantly looking to find what it's looking for, even after you've found it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That may be why so many relationships go sour. A person finds the person they're looking for, and then they keep looking.
Yeah.
That isn't it.
Yeah.
I can't help you with the quote problem of
Mm-hmm.
yo-yoing weight, but I do know something from myself. I was talking about it in last week's episode. I saw my weight incrementally going up, and number one, I was willing to be honest that the way I was eating was going to continue that trend, and that I wasn't willing to do anything about it until I was. And recently I realized that I was ready to bring awareness to how I ate. And one of the things that happened in the last period of time, since I brought awareness to it, I am hungry from time to time. I'm experiencing the experience of hunger. And it's interesting to see how what filling that hunger experience also from time to time masks. And I know, for instance, you are getting married, and
Yes.
yes, you just close your eyes like, oh yes, there are probably insecurities around the process of that, not that you have a partner you're unhappy with, although I imagine from time to time you and Robbie do not see eye to eye. So sometimes rather than saying, are we okay? Or, you know, that interaction felt a little strained, or are we sure we want to have, I don't know, hors d'oeuvres, and like the conversations that might be confronting, it's easier to go bury them with food. Speaking for myself, not that I have confronting things with Shia in, you know, using this analogy, but from time to time I have confronting projects on my desk.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Or I sometimes I'm hungry, but I don't want to eat anything healthy when I'm having that hunger. It's like only French fries will satisfy it, which is not. I don't think that's true hunger. If it's only French fries that can make me feel better. Um,
Well, I'll tell you one thing I did
yeah.
around my birthday is I pretty much ate everything I thought was be a treat, all except for the croissant thing. We never got to that, but we did have the ice cream cone, and I was really, really happy I ate it, and I felt so sick afterwards. It was kind of cool. It was
Mm.
particularly cool that I don't know if feeling sick was related to having eaten the ice cream, but I like that I did it wholeheartedly and I don't have to repeat that experience anytime soon. Because
See, she said anytime soon, that means next year we may do it again.
I might do it. I don't know if I'm not
Yeah,
making a
you know,
rule.
There's a sign on the electric poles around here announcing a farm stand that sells ice cream.
Mhm.
And Sweet Hollow Road has a Sweet Hollow Road farm stand, and they sell, the top thing they have up there is ice cream, then milk and other things. And I think, well, we could have their ice cream, but I don't think it would be as good as the ice cream place we went to. And it was the first time I had ice cream in a few years. And I had my fill.
Mhm.
There was a time I ate a pint of ice cream every day.
But here's the thing, Adam. You're eating it. You're eating the French fries and being hard on yourself at the same time, as if you don't want to eat them. You're eating them because you want to eat them.
Well, you're doing everything
Yeah.
you do because you want to do what you're doing. And you kid yourself into thinking you don't want to do what you say you don't want to do, that you are doing.
When did you first come into our community? I know you were introduced by your mom. How old were you? Let's just put it that way.
17.
Okay,
And now I'm 32.
okay.
Right?
So
Yes.
I recall back when I can't remember what year, what episode, but you called in when you were having trouble in college with drinking. And
Yeah.
you had, and at that, do you drink now?
No, I don't.
And you haven't since you got clear, you no longer want that as part of your lifestyle.
Yes.
That you are battling with French fries tells me that you want it as part of your lifestyle, not only the French fries, but the battle.
Yeah.
And you told us in this episode, I recall it vividly because it created such a word picture for me, that when you went out with your friends, you couldn't even hold those red plastic cups that were associated with beer, that you wouldn't go places and even hold those cups because they re-triggered the desire for the alcohol that you no longer wanted. So you could go into bars and go places where people were drinking, but you took care of yourself by taking other actions. And I remember at the time thinking, wow, how cool is that? So if you hid yourself into thinking that you have a French fry issue, I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Want to eat the fries and you don't want to take responsibility for it.
But now I'm thinking of French fries.
That's right, you've been selling.
You
I'm
are
ready
a
to go.
community leader.
I'm impregnating you with my thoughts, so.
Well, what if that's normal
What if
though?
that's true?
What if that is absolutely true, that your thoughts affect the people around you in ways that you couldn't imagine?
You know, creativity. Your cat just jumped in front of you to save you now from this conversation. Good kitty.
Yes. Thank you, Thelma. I'll put her down for a sec. She'll get the message.
I don't think you'd know who you were if you didn't have yo-yoing weight.
True. Yeah. It's been what I've done my whole life, for sure.
Well, I'm sure that that's part of your familial background. I think your
Yeah.
mother had that conversation,
Very likely your dad did too.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a conversation you grew up with, and it's been part of your life. Doesn't mean it has to stay part of your life.
Right.
Not in resistance to it, but you might just discover you can let it down, not pick it up.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, sorry, my cat.
It's okay.
She's holding on tight right now.
I noticed that. Yeah.
If you don't try to get rid of her, she might
Go
let
away.
go.
If you stop trying to put her down,
Yeah.
she may get bored. We'll see. In the meantime, enjoy her.
Right, my
Yeah.
cat. That.
No.
I might have to go and hang out with you just to get a little cat
Cat vibe.
pet me time. My cat is not a cat pet me.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Hey, thanks for being here today, Adam. It's been fun being with you.
Yes, it has.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hey, if you want to be a guest like Adam or submit a listener spotlight, go to transformationmadeeasy.com/being here and find out how.
That's right.
Next week's episode, you win,
I win.
we win. We'll be back next week.
It's a win-win.
It is a win-win.
Yes, indeed.
We'll be back next week, so come on back.
And don't miss being here.